A strange visitor at midnight. The wind was cold that night. The sky was dark, and not a single star could be seen. Jack was sitting on his old wooden porch, drinking coffee and staring into the empty fields. He lived alone. No wife, no children, just an old dog who had died last winter, and silence. Jack had lived on this farm for years. After the car crash took his family, he stopped talking to people. The world felt heavy. But that night, something strange happened, something that would change his life forever. Suddenly, the sky lit up. A bright, burning light shot across the heavens. It wasn't a star. It wasn't a plane. It was something different. The object crashed into the forest just beyond Jack's cornfield. The ground shook. Birds flew from the trees. Jack stood up fast, dropping his coffee. His heart beat faster. Was it a meteor, or something worse? He grabbed his flashlight and shotgun and ran toward the crash site. The forest was dark and cold. Leaves crunched under his boots. The light from the crash still glowed faintly in the distance. When he reached the clearing, what he saw made him stop in shock. A strange ship, half broken, covered in smoke, lay in the middle of the trees. It didn't look human. The metal was smooth and glowing with blue lines. Strange symbols moved along the side like they were alive. Then, a sound. A soft cry. Jack turned his light and saw her. A tall woman, with silver skin and glowing blue eyes, was crawling out of the wreckage. She was badly hurt. Cuts on her arms, burns on her clothes. In her arms, she held two small children, also glowing, also shaking in fear. Jack raised his shotgun. "Who? What are you?" The woman looked at him, her lips trembling. She could barely speak, but she said something that shook Jack to his core. "Marry me, human, or they will die." Jack blinked. "What?" The woman collapsed, her body hitting the ground with a soft thud. The two children cried out, hugging her tight. Jack lowered his weapon, his heart pounding. What the hell is going on? He looked at the kids. They weren't fully human. Their eyes glowed softly. Their skin had patterns that moved like light on water. But they were children, and they were scared. Jack couldn't just walk away. He picked up the woman carefully and held one child in his arm. The other followed close, holding Jack's shirt tightly. He carried them back to his house, breathing heavy, confused, and still not sure if this was a dream. Inside his small home, he placed the woman on the couch and wrapped her in a blanket. The children sat close to her, still crying softly. Jack picked up his phone and called an old friend, Mike, who used to be an army medic. "Mike, I need help. There's been an accident. Just get here fast. Please." In less than 30 minutes, Mike arrived. He looked at the woman and the children, then at Jack. "You didn't tell me they were aliens." Jack rubbed his face. "Because I don't know what the hell this is." Mike checked the woman. Her wounds were strange. She was healing, too fast. Skin closing by itself. Blood stopping without help. "This isn't normal," Mike said. "She's not like us." Suddenly, the woman opened her eyes. She looked at Jack, her voice weak but clear. "They are hunting us. You must protect the children, or they will take them." Jack leaned in. Who's hunting you?" The woman grabbed his hand. Her touch was warm, electric. "They killed my husband. They destroyed my home. Only humans can hide us now. Only you can save them." Then her body went still. Not dead, but deeply unconscious. The children stared at Jack with wide, glowing eyes. He sat back in his chair, completely overwhelmed. This wasn't just a strange crash. This was something much, much bigger, and he had no idea what was coming next. Outside, in the forest, two small red lights blinked, and then vanished into the trees. The secret behind her eyes. Jack didn't sleep that night. He sat near the couch, eyes half open, shotgun leaning on the wall beside him. The alien woman, Scylla, was still unconscious. Her children were curled up beside her, holding her hands, their eyes glowing faintly in the dark. They hadn't said a word. They just stared at Jack, quiet, watching. His farmhouse, once silent and cold, now felt like another world. Alien kids on his couch, a strange woman who asked him to marry her, and something, watching from the woods. The next morning, as sunlight touched the windows, Scylla opened her eyes. She tried to sit up but winced in pain. Jack stepped closer. Easy, you're hurt. Scylla looked around quickly, her body tense. Then she saw her children, safe, asleep. Only then did she breathe. Jack poured her a glass of water and gave it to her. She took it slowly. Her hands were still shaking. You said something last night, Jack said. Something about marrying you. Scylla nodded weakly. Yes, she whispered. I did. Jack looked at her, confused. Why? Why would you say that? Who are you? What are those kids? What's going on? Scylla closed her eyes. A tear slid down her cheek. Not human tears. Her tears sparkled like stardust. My name is Scylla. I am, or was, a royal guardian from the planet Villari. She looked at Jack. My husband was the last king. Jack blinked. King. Yes, we ruled over a peaceful world. A beautiful world. But peace makes some races jealous. We were attacked. My people were betrayed by outsiders. Invaders came from the dark sector. They burned our skies, poisoned our oceans, killed without mercy. She touched her children's heads. My husband fought to protect us. He died buying me time to escape with the last of our kind, our children. Jack was silent. Scylla continued, voice softer now. They are not just my children. They are symbols. If they die, our people die with them. The memory, the blood, the hope, gone. Jack sat down on the edge of the table. He looked at the kids. Why me? Why ask me to marry you? Scylla hesitated. Our bodies are not made for Earth. Your air, your sun, it slowly kills us. But there is a way. If we bond with a human, a strong one, the connection protects us. The children survive. And I stay alive long enough to protect them. Jack leaned back, stunned. So this marriage, it's not love. No, she said gently. It is survival. He stared at her. Why not find a doctor? Or a scientist? Why me? Scylla looked at him, deep, silent. Then she said something that shook Jack. Because I scanned your heart. What? When we crashed, I sent a signal. I searched for kindness, for strength, for someone who has lost, and still stands. Jack was frozen. I saw your pain, your wife, your child, the crash, the silence in your soul, and I thought, maybe you would understand. She placed a glowing stone on the table. My children will not last more than 7 nights. Their glow is fading already. If they lose their light, they will vanish. Jack looked at the kids again. They were holding each other, sleeping deeply, but their light, it did seem dimmer. He rubbed his face. I don't know what to do, he whispered. Just don't walk away, she said. Suddenly, the lights in the house flickered. A sound outside, like metal scraping against wood. Jack grabbed his shotgun and walked to the door. He opened it slowly. The porch was empty. But he felt it. A presence. Watching. He stepped outside, his boots crunching the gravel. Then he saw them. At the edge of the woods, 2 tall figures stood, covered in black armor, eyes glowing red, silent, still. Jack aimed his shotgun. Who the hell are you? No answer. Then one of them spoke in a deep mechanical voice. Return the queen, or burn with her. Jack fired a warning shot. The blast echoed through the trees. When he looked again, they were gone. He rushed back inside. Scylla was standing now, barely, holding her children close. "They found us," she whispered. "The hunters." "Who are they?" "Slaves of the invaders. They are not alive. Not dead, just machines with skin. They follow only one command: kill the royal bloodline." Jack locked the doors and windows. "Can we fight them?" "For a while. But they won't stop." Jack nodded. He looked at her. "I don't know anything about aliens or kingdoms, but I've got a home. I got a gun. And I'm not letting anyone hurt kids. Not again." Scylla looked at him with something new in her eyes. "Hope. You don't have to marry me," she said. Jack shook his head. "No, I do. If that's what it takes, I will." She stepped closer and, for the first time, touched his hand. Her skin felt like warm light. "You are not like the others," she said. "And you're not like anything I've ever seen." They stood there, two broken souls in a small farmhouse, surrounded by stars and danger. But together, and in the shadows of the forest, the red eyes watched, waiting. Hunters from the void. The sky turned dark faster than usual that evening. Clouds hung low over the forest, and the wind whispered through the trees like it was warning something terrible was near. Inside the farmhouse, Jack loaded his shotgun again. His hands moved fast, but his mind was still racing. Hunters, machines in human skin. They had spoken just a few words, but it was enough. Enough to make Jack feel something he hadn't felt in years: fear and purpose. Scylla sat at the edge of the bed in the guest room, holding her children close. She looked weaker now. The glowing lines on her arms had dimmed. Her children weren't glowing at all. Just two small, quiet figures with wide, tired eyes. Jack walked in with an old lantern. "They're getting closer, aren't they?" he asked. Scylla nodded. "They never stop. They don't eat. They don't sleep. They smell royal blood. They will come, even if it kills them." Jack looked at the kids. "And if they take the children?" Scylla's voice shook. "Then all hope is gone. Not just for my kind, but for all." Jack didn't understand everything, but he understood this much. These children weren't just alien kids. They were something bigger, something important, and he had promised to protect them. He sat down beside Scylla. "Do they have names?" Scylla gave a weak smile. "Yes, the boy is Terran. The girl is Luma." Jack looked at them. Terran. Luma." The boy blinked and leaned closer to his mother. The girl reached out and gently touched Jack's hand. Her touch was cold. Too cold. "She's freezing," Jack said. Scylla nodded. "The bond is fading. Without the full bond, they can't survive here." Jack stood up. "Then let's finish the bond." Scylla looked surprised. "You're sure?" Jack nodded. "I don't care how strange it is. If it keeps them alive, I'll do it." Scylla led him outside into the barn. Inside, she drew strange glowing symbols on the floor using dust from a small crystal. "This is not marriage like humans know it," she said softly. "This links our life energy. It shares our memories, pain, and trust." She placed both hands on his chest. Jack felt a sudden rush of warmth in his body, then a cold wave, like diving into deep water. Memories flashed before his eyes. He saw Scylla's planet, beautiful towers, silver trees, and skies filled with 3 moons. He saw her husband, tall, strong, brave, dying in a final battle to buy her time. He felt her fear, her loneliness, her hope. Then Scylla gasped. She was seeing his life now. The car crash, the hospital, holding his wife's cold hand, the empty baby room, the nights he sat alone, waiting for a sound that never came. Scylla opened her eyes. They were filled with tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered. The bond was complete. They stood in silence for a moment. Then they heard it. A screech. Metal and bone. Loud. Near. Jack grabbed his shotgun. Scylla raised her arm. A glowing weapon formed from her skin, something between a blade and a shield. "They're here," she said. The first window shattered, then another. Two black armored hunters burst through the wall like shadows with weight. They had no faces, just glowing red eyes. Jack fired. The shotgun blast hit one in the chest, pushing it back, but not killing it. Scylla spun forward, slicing through the other one's arm with her glowing weapon. The arm fell off, but the hunter didn't stop. The kids screamed inside. Jack ran back, grabbed Terran and Luma, and pushed them into the hidden space under the floorboards. He covered them quickly and whispered, "Don't move, no matter what." Another hunter crashed through the door. Scylla shouted something in her language and threw a blast of light at it. The creature flew back, hit the wall, and cracked the floor, but it stood back up like nothing had happened. Jack fired again. This time, he aimed for the head. The creature dropped. "Got one," he yelled. But two more came through the barn door. Jack and Scylla stood back to back. "Don't let them near the kids," she screamed. Jack used his shotgun like a club now, swinging at one creature's legs, while Scylla stabbed another in the throat. Sparks flew. Blood like dark oil sprayed across the barn. Finally, silence. The last hunter dropped to the ground, dead. Jack stood there, chest heaving, body shaking. His shirt was torn. His arm was bleeding. Scylla dropped to her knees. "It's not over," she said. "This was only a scout team." Jack opened the floorboards and lifted the kids out. They were safe, for now. But something had changed. Terran's hands were glowing again. Luma's eyes were brighter. Their bond to Jack had begun to grow. Scylla looked up at him. "They're healing," she said in disbelief. Jack looked at the children. "Then I'll never leave them." Scylla touched his hand, gently this time. "You're not just their protector now," she said. "You're their father." The bonding ceremony. The barn was full of smoke and broken wood. The bodies of the hunters lay scattered, leaking black fluid, but there was no time to rest. Scylla leaned against a wall, breathing hard. Her energy was fading. Her skin, once glowing with alien patterns, now looked dim and cracked. Jack stood in the middle of the mess, shotgun in hand, his clothes torn and soaked with sweat and blood. His arms ached, his legs trembled, but his heart had never felt so alive. The children were safe. For now. Terran and Luma sat close together in the corner of the barn, whispering softly in their strange, glowing language. Their little hands glowed again, dim but steady. The bond was helping, but it wasn't enough. Scylla looked at Jack, her voice barely a whisper. "We don't have much time." Jack walked over and helped her sit down. "What do you mean?" She closed her eyes. "The hunters are only the beginning. The ones coming next. They are worse, faster, smarter. They will tear through this place like paper." Jack looked down. "Then we need to run." "No," Scylla said, shaking her head slowly. "Running won't help anymore. We must finish the bond. Not just a promise. Not just survival. A full merging." Jack was silent for a moment. "Will it keep the kids alive?" Scylla nodded. "It will protect them. Fully. It will also protect me. But it will change you too." Jack stared at her. "Change me how?" Scylla looked into his eyes. "You'll feel my memories, my pain, my love, my fears. You'll carry them all, and I will carry yours." He stepped back, thinking. "That sounds like too much." "It is," she said quietly. "But this isn't just about protection anymore. You're not just a shield, Jack. You're their father now. And in our way, you're becoming one of us." Jack looked at the kids again. Terran had fallen asleep in Luma's arms. They looked like lost little stars, dim and fragile. He took a deep breath and nodded. "Let's do it. The ceremony begins." Scylla led him to the forest, deep into the trees, to a place where moonlight fell perfectly in a small circle, like the sky itself was watching. She placed small glowing crystals in the shape of a ring on the ground. The air became heavy. The wind stopped. Scylla stood inside the circle. Her skin lit up slowly. Faint pulses of blue and silver ran across her arms and face. Jack stepped in, heart pounding. She reached out her hands. Jack took them. "Close your eyes," she whispered. "Let go." Jack shut his eyes. The world fell away. Inside the bond. Suddenly, Jack was falling through space. But not real space. It was a river of memories. He saw Scylla as a child, running through glowing trees on a world with 3 moons. He saw her training as a warrior, facing fire beasts, flying through storms, learning to protect the royal family. He saw her wedding, her husband tall, gentle, strong. He looked nothing like Jack, yet his eyes held the same kindness. He saw Scylla holding her babies for the first time. And then, war. Explosions. Fire. Screams. He felt her pain as her husband died in her arms. She wanted to scream, but she stayed quiet, for the children. And then, he saw himself, through her eyes, alone on his porch, holding a photo of his wife and unborn daughter, crying silently in the dark. She had felt his sadness, his strength, his silence. She had chosen him, not by chance, but because she knew he had lost everything. And still stood. Jack gasped. He opened his eyes. They were still in the forest, but something had changed. He felt lighter, stronger, and Scylla. She looked brighter. Her skin was glowing again. Not weak, but full of life. They looked at each other. The bond was complete. Jack could feel her emotions now. Not just hear them, feel them. Her fear, her love, her hope. She smiled gently. "You are one of us now." A new father. When they returned to the farmhouse, the children ran to them. But this time, they didn't hide behind Scylla. They ran to Jack. Terran hugged his leg tightly. Luma climbed into his arms. They could feel the bond too. Jack hugged them close. He didn't need words. Scylla watched from behind, her eyes soft, proud. "You are more than just a man now," she said. "You are their protector, their future, their family." Final warning. That night, as the family sat quietly by the fireplace, a sudden beep echoed from the broken ship hidden in the barn. Jack and Scylla rushed outside. The ship's panel lit up. A message appeared. "Your location has been exposed. The enemy approaches. Prepare for impact in 72 hours. Jack clenched his fists. Scylla stared at the message with hard eyes. "There's no more time to hide," she said. Jack looked at his new family. 2 children from another world, and a warrior queen who had lost everything. "Then we fight," he said. "Together," she whispered. "Earth is not safe anymore." The morning sky was red. Jack stood on his porch with a cup of coffee in hand, staring at the horizon. He didn't take a sip. He didn't move. His mind was full of worry. Fear had taken root in his chest, but he hid it behind quiet eyes. Scylla stood beside him, arms crossed, her face serious. "They know where we are now," she said. Jack nodded. "How long before they come?" "Hours, maybe a day." She looked toward the barn. But not just the hunters. There's someone else now, someone watching from above. At that moment, a loud roar echoed in the sky. They both looked up. A black government drone flew overhead, blinking red, scanning the farm. It hovered for a few seconds, then shot away into the clouds. Jack cursed under his breath. "That's not alien." "No," Scylla whispered. "That's human. The world finds out." Back in town, at a secret military base, screens lit up with images of Jack's farm. Colonel Briggs, a man with silver hair and sharp eyes, stood in front of the monitors. "This is it," he said. "We've found the alien signal source. The energy readings match nothing we've ever seen, and the heat signatures inside that barn. Not human." His assistant nodded. "What's the order, sir?" "Capture. All of them. Dead or alive. Escape begins." Jack packed bags quickly. Food, water, tools, weapons. The farmhouse was no longer safe. Terran and Luma were quiet, holding each other, feeling the tension in the air. Scylla stood near the door, her skin glowing softly, her armor forming along her arms. "We must move soon. I sent a call to the others. There is a place, hidden, far, a refuge." "Others?" Jack asked. "Yes. Survivors. My people, scattered across Earth. Waiting." Just then, tires screeched outside. A black van stopped at the end of the road. 3 men in military suits stepped out, wearing helmets and carrying strange-looking rifles. Jack stepped back. "They're here." "No," Scylla said calmly. "These are scouts, testing our reaction." She walked outside slowly, hands raised. The soldiers aimed their weapons. Jack watched from the window, heart racing. One soldier spoke through a speaker. "Step forward. Drop your weapons. You are on U.S. soil and harboring non-human life. This is a violation of planetary security." Scylla took one more step. Then suddenly, she vanished. A blink of light, and she was behind them. With one swift motion, she knocked all 3 soldiers out. Quiet, clean, no deaths. She dragged their bodies into the woods and returned. Jack stared at her. "You didn't kill them." "They are not my enemy," she said. "They are just blind men following orders." Scylla weakens. Later that night, while driving through an old mountain road in Jack's pickup, Scylla began to cough. Hard. Jack stopped the truck. Scylla held her chest. Her glow flickered. "The bond is strong," she said, "but Earth's air still burns my lungs. I can't keep fighting forever." Jack touched her arm. "Then we get there fast. We find your people. We finish this." She looked at him. "You speak like a soldier now." Jack gave a weak smile. "Maybe you've made me one." In the back seat, Terran reached out and held Scylla's hand. Luma leaned against Jack's arm. The small family sat in silence, wrapped in a mix of fear and love. The big twist. As they drove into the night, they passed a quiet gas station. The lights were out. The area was empty. Jack stopped to get supplies. Inside the store, he noticed something strange. The cashier wasn't moving, just standing, eyes open, frozen. Jack slowly stepped forward. Then the cashier's eyes turned red. Too late. The man lunged at Jack, stronger than human. Jack fought back, smashing him into the counter. Sparks flew. Under the man's skin, metal. Another hunter. But this one was different. Smarter. Deadlier. Disguised. Jack barely escaped the store and ran back to the truck. "They've changed," he gasped. "They're pretending to be humans now." Scylla's eyes widened. "They've evolved. They've merged with Earth tech. We can't trust anyone anymore," Jack said. "No," Scylla said, "but we can still reach the last refuge, if we survive the final road. A path with no return." As they drove higher into the mountains, the road narrowed. The trees grew thicker. Jack could feel it. They were being washed. Scylla suddenly touched his shoulder. "We are being followed." Jack looked in the mirror. A dark vehicle with no lights sped up behind them. Another one came from the left, through the trees. They were surrounded. Scylla placed the kids under a shield in the back of the truck and jumped out. Jack followed her. 4 hunters stepped into the road. One wore a human face. Stitched, fake, lifeless. He spoke in a deep voice. "You gave them hope. That was your mistake." Jack raised his shotgun. "Hope is the only thing I've got left." They attacked. This time, it was war. Jack and Scylla fought together, perfectly in sync. He fired at legs, arms, eyes. She used her energy blade to slice through armor. But these hunters were stronger, smarter. They predicted their moves. Just when it looked like they'd lose, a blast of light came from above. A cloaked ship, silver and silent, hovered above the trees. A voice echoed from it. "Queen Scylla, the refuge awaits. Come quickly." Scylla grabbed the kids and jumped aboard. Jack followed. The ship rose, burning the forest below with its engines. The hunters screamed and vanished in fire. As the door closed behind them, Jack collapsed to the floor. Terran and Luma hugged him tight. Scylla kneeled beside him, placing her hand on his chest. "You've passed every test," she whispered. "Now comes the final one. The last refuge." The ship soared across the sky like a silent shadow, hidden by cloaking tech that only Scylla's people could control. Inside, Jack sat on the floor beside the children, still catching his breath. His hands were bruised, his heart still racing, but Terran and Luma curled up beside him. Safe. That was all that mattered. Scylla stood nearby, speaking in her own language to a tall alien pilot. His skin was dark silver, and his eyes were calm but hard. Jack could tell this was a warrior. Someone who'd seen war, loss, and death, just like Scylla. "They're taking us to the refuge?" Jack asked quietly. Scylla nodded. "Yes. Deep underground, hidden from satellites, from hunters, even from humans." Jack looked out the window. Below, the world looked peaceful. Trees, hills, rivers. But he knew better now. Peace was an illusion. Arrival at the last refuge. The ship began to descend. Jack felt it slow, then tilt downward into a mountain valley covered in thick fog. There were no roads, no buildings. Then, the mountain opened. A huge metal door slid into the rock. Lights flickered along the walls as the ship entered a hidden tunnel. It was massive, built by hands not of this earth. When they landed, the ship doors opened, revealing a giant underground base. Jack stepped out, eyes wide. Dozens of alien survivors walked around. Some looked like Scylla. Others were different species entirely. Tall, small, glowing, spiked. But all of them looked tired and afraid. Scylla led Jack and the children forward. "They've been running for years," she said softly, "hiding in shadows, waiting for someone to stand up." As they walked, whispers followed them. "The Queen has returned." "Is that the human?" He bonded with her. Impossible. Jack felt eyes on him, judging, questioning. He held Luma's hand tighter. Doubt in the ranks. They entered a large hall, glowing with soft blue lights and floating crystals. At the center stood an older alien with dark skin and deep scars across his face. He wore armor, cracked and old, but full of pride. Scylla bowed her head. "Commander Valen." "Scylla," he said with a deep voice. "You brought them here, the last bloodline, and a human." Valen looked at Jack with cold eyes. "You trust him?" "With my life," Scylla replied. Valen didn't look convinced. Then he must prove it. Jack raised an eyebrow. "Prove what?" Valen stepped forward. "That you're not just another human who stumbled into something bigger than himself. That you have what it takes to stand beside us." Jack looked at Scylla. She nodded. "This is their way. Not punishment. A test of spirit." The trial. They led Jack to a large chamber deep within the mountain. It was circular, with smooth rock walls and glowing rooms on the floor. Around the edges, aliens gathered to watch. A test of fire, of heart. Valen stepped into the ring. Jack blinked. "I'm fighting him." Scylla whispered, "He will not kill you, but he will break you. Unless you fight back with everything you are." Valen tossed Jack a wooden staff. "No guns, no tricks, only your will." The battle began. Jack moved quickly, but Valen was faster. The old warrior swept his leg, knocked him down, and struck him in the shoulder. Pain shot through Jack's body. He gritted his teeth, got up. Again, Valen struck him, this time across the chest. Jack stumbled back, coughing. The crowd was silent. He could hear Terran and Luma call out from the side. "Don't give up, Earth Dad." Jack looked at them. He remembered his wife, his unborn daughter, the emptiness after their death. He remembered Sila's broken face when she first collapsed on his porch. And then something inside him snapped awake. Jack rushed forward, not with speed, but with purpose. He swung, blocked, dodged. Valen's staff slammed toward his head. Jack caught it midair and pushed back with everything he had. The staff cracked. Valen stepped back, eyes wide. Jack dropped the weapon and stood tall, chest heaving. "I'm not a warrior," he said. "I'm a farmer, a broken man. But I don't run, not anymore." Silence. Then, applause. Valen smiled. "You are one of us now." Hope returns. Later that night, Jack sat in a quiet chamber, bandages on his arms, a hot drink in his hand. Sila entered with the children, smiling. "You passed," she said softly. Jack gave a tired smile. "Barely." Sila sat beside him. "They trust you now, not just because of the bond, but because you stood up when others would fall." Jack looked at the kids. Terran was laughing with another alien child. Luma was chasing floating lights, her glow stronger than ever. "I didn't know I could feel this again," Jack whispered. Sila looked at him. "Feel what?" "Family. A traitor among them." Just as peace returned, a loud alarm echoed through the mountain. Red lights flashed. Sirens blared. Sila stood up fast. "What's happening?" Valen rushed in. "There's a breach. Someone inside sent a signal. The hunters are coming." Jack's heart sank. "A traitor," Sila said coldly. Valen nodded. "Yes, and we don't have time to find them. The enemy will be here in hours." Jack looked around. "Then we fight." Valen gave him a sharp look. "This time, they're not coming for the kids. They're coming for you too." Sila turned to Jack. "They know you carry our future now. If they kill you, everything dies with you." One last stand for the children. The mountain shook. Sirens echoed through the last refuge as warning lights turned everything red. Aliens ran through the underground corridors, preparing for battle. Parents held their children tighter. Soldiers gripped weapons. Fear was everywhere. At the center of it all stood Jack. He had no armor, no training, no special powers. But he had something stronger, a reason to fight. He stood with Sila, Valen, Terran, and Luma as the command center displayed a dark sky full of falling fire. Hundreds of enemy ships were descending. Fast, silent, deadly. The traitor had done their job well. The enemy knew everything now, every tunnel, every weakness. Valen's voice boomed through the base. "This is it. They want our queen. Our children, our hope. But they will find only fire." Sila looked at Jack. "Are you ready?" He nodded, gripping a stolen alien weapon in one hand, his old shotgun slung across his back. "I don't plan to die," Jack said. "Not today." The final defense begins. The ground trembled as explosions rocked the upper levels of the mountain. The hunters were cutting through stone with laser drills. A wave of soldiers rushed to the surface, ready to meet them. Jack stayed with Sila and the children near the core of the base, where the energy fields protected the young and weak. But it wasn't safe anymore. The hunters had changed. They were faster now, using cloaking devices. Their bodies looked human, until they opened their mouths and showed the cold steel beneath. They poured into the tunnels like black water, slashing and burning everything in their path. Jack fired his alien rifle down the hall, covering the exit as Sila led a group of younglings away. His hands were shaking, but his eyes were calm. A hunter charged him. Jack fired once. Missed. The creature lunged. Suddenly, a flash of silver. Sila. She moved like lightning, slicing the hunter in half with her energy blade. She turned to Jack, breathing hard. "You've fought enough," she said. He grabbed her arm. No, I haven't. Breaking through. Valen's voice came over the comms. They're breaching the shield room. If the core falls, it's over. Scylla looked at the children. Their glow was fading again. They were afraid. Too afraid. Jack knelt beside them. Hey, he said gently. You know who I am. Terran nodded. Earth Dad. Jack smiled. That's right. And what do Earth Dads do? Luma whispered. They don't run. Jack kissed their foreheads. I need you to stay here. Be brave. Glow bright. No matter what happens. He stood up. Scylla walked beside him. You're going to the core. Yes. I'll go with you. Jack shook his head. No, you stay with them. Protect them. That's your job. She reached out, touched his face gently. You're not the man I met that night. Jack smiled. No, I'm more now, because of you. He turned and ran toward the core. The final fight. The core chamber was already under attack. Sparks flew from the walls as hunters fought alien defenders. Smoke filled the air. Energy fields flickered, weak. Jack burst in and started firing. Each shot was followed by a scream or an explosion. He fought like a man who had nothing to lose, but everything to protect. A massive hunter broke through the wall, twice the size of the others, with 4 arms and a voice like thunder. You are the bonded one, it growled. Jack didn't speak. He just raised his shotgun and fired both barrels into its chest. The creature stumbled, but didn't fall. It charged. Jack rolled to the side, grabbed a fallen energy spear, and stabbed it through the creature's throat. It fell. Hard. Jack collapsed beside it, breathing like a man who just outran death. The sacrifice. Suddenly, a blast hit the core wall. It cracked. Another hunter charged in, aiming for the energy core. Jack tried to stop it, but he was too slow. Then a blur of silver and blue. Scylla. She slammed into the hunter, pushing it away from the core. Her body glowed brighter than ever before. She looked back at Jack. There's no other way. Jack stood up, bleeding. Scylla. No. But it was too late. She raised her hands. The energy from her body poured into the core. The wall sealed. The light returned. But Scylla fell. Jack caught her in his arms. Her glow, fading. She smiled, weakly. My children will live. You will protect them. That is enough for me. Tears ran down Jack's face. Don't go. She placed something in his hand. A glowing crystal. It holds my voice, my love. Tell them who I was. Then she was gone. A new beginning. Days later, the mountain was still. The enemy had been defeated. Many had fallen. But the children were safe. Terran and Luma sat beside Jack as he held the crystal. He pressed it. Scylla's voice echoed softly through the room. My children, if you hear this, it means I am no longer beside you. But you are not alone. You are strong. You are loved. And you are not just Velari now. You are Earth too. Because a human gave you a home. Tears filled their eyes. Jack hugged them tight. I'm not going anywhere, he said. Ever. The final words. Months passed. The refuge became a new home. Humans who knew the truth helped rebuild it. Jack taught the children how to plant crops in alien soil, how to fish, how to laugh. He carried Scylla's crystal around his neck every day. One evening, he stood on the hill outside the base, watching the stars. Terran walked up beside him. Dad? Jack looked down. Yeah. Do you miss her? Jack nodded. Every day. Luma joined them, taking his hand. She'd be proud of you, she whispered. Jack looked up at the stars. I hope so, he said, because I'm proud of her. The wind blew gently, and somewhere among the stars, Scylla watched.